So now we are going to look at trim and VLOOKUP. So in most cases where in our business databases we are provided with data that is unsorted, data that is containing spaces, we need to sort that data before putting it in any database. But in situations where you have data that is unsorted and you want to carry out VLOOKUP on it, how can you do it? That's what we are featuring in today. So for instance, I want to determine the price of the mobile phone in here. But the mobile phone I'm selecting here, it has a space after it, unlike the mobile phone that is in the first column. So can you assign it a VLOOKUP? It will throw an error simply because the mobile phone you're trying to refer to has a space after it. So what you do, you leave a space after it, then come to the VLOOKUP section, give it an operand, VLOOKUP open, then use trim, then open, assign it F4, which is the cell reference for the product, close the bracket, comma, and then you pass in the table array, assign it a $sign, a $4. We are putting $sign simply because we don't want the table array to change when we pass it down to other columns. So now we are going to put in the table array $sign D, $sign 11, which is the whole table, comma, put 4, which is the index, comma, put a 0, close the bracket, and enter. Eventually, you find out that it's the exact price that is here for our mobile phones. Then you drag it down to autofill the rest. But could you have neglected the word trim? Trim means to cut something away. Could you have neglected this and maybe put VLOOKUP and put this stuff on right? It could not have worked. Reason being, it contains space after the last letter, which is in the case in here. So meaning that you can do VLOOKUP within data that is similar. Can data be different from fellow data that you want to do lookup onto by one character? That could be space, comma, exclamation mark. It can't relate between the two tables. Now, after having finished the above trim, we want you to see how we can trim out spaces in case the spaces you're going to work with are not with the VLOOKUP value, but rather they have been provided to you, or they are in the database. They were unsorted by other clients. So for instance here, if you selected that, you'll see that there is space after these words. You see? Then, after seeing space after all these words, you get to know that you'll have to interact with a tool called trim within VLOOKUP itself. So this is what you do. You put an operand VLOOKUP, then A38, which is the reference for the mobile phones we are referring to, comma, trim. Now what you're going to trim, you're trimming the whole of this table, which wasn't the case with our first table where we were trimming the lookup table. Okay, so you say that trim, then A27, D34. Why did we apply the $signs? We applied $sign simply because we don't want the table array to change as we pass on the VLOOKUP to other cells. Comma 4, comma 0. 4 represents the index, then 0 represents true. Why did I add a 0? For instance, without a 0 here, then running the code, it will output us the very answers we are having here, but they'll be left aligned to this cell. Yet here they were right aligned. So for us to make them to be right aligned, what we need to do is to add a 0 to our formula within the formula bar. For instance, if we get back to here, then add a 0, enter, it will get to be right aligned like it is here. So for that, I do autofill downwards so that I can get the text or the exact price or the exact match for all the products. If you can look at these and compare, it's the exact products prices. Hope we're good to go.